Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Fill Your Cup with Srna Stos
and Jackie Shames.
And we're excited to see you guys again this week. And Jackie, how was your week?
It was, honestly, I was just trying to think about my week. I don't know what I did this week. I feel like it's been just a crazy week with Art Basel. Work is picking up. Fill Your Cup is picking up. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of things. Woo. So it's been good. I think, I'll be honest, I'm a little stressed, overwhelmed, but in a really good way, in a grateful way.
In like a productive, good way, like where you're,
Apparently, by the way, sorry, I just realized, apparently we interrupt each other. We're going to be better about not interrupting each other. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like you and I, when we sit on this couch, it's like we're having a conversation with no cameras, it feels like I'm just having a conversation at your house.
It literally does. And it's also, we don't even talk about, we talk about what we're going to talk about, but we don't rehearse anything.
We don't rehearse. We don't have anything. We just know the topic, but we don't prepare anything. But how was your week?
It was good. Kind of like yours. Again, we have parallel lives kind of. It's very hectic, I think, this time of year with work and everything. But again, in a very productive, good way. And I'm just excited with everything, and I'm excited with everything with Fill Your Cup.
I know.
And I'm so glad. This is like our therapy. So
it really is. So thank you guys for the support, for the reviews, all the messages. We've seen them all. And, you know, our purpose with this podcast is to help as many people as we can by sharing our stories. So your support and just everything the feedback really means so much. Like, we have received paragraphs, essays on email and DM, and there's so many questions that we haven't even got into, but it's just been so incredible.
Yeah, and we've literally cried tears of just like gratitude.
We'll like send each other. We'll be like, Srna, did you see this?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God. But thank you guys. And so we really keep your feedback in mind with topics and all of that. So please keep sending it. We love seeing them.
Yeah. Srna, we got to talk about the double date we went on the other day.
No, you guys, this is insane.
It was awful. And the only reason it was awful was because, so Srna and I went on a double date the other day. Srna is dating someone, and the person she's dating has a friend and asked, am I correct? Asked to be set up.
Yeah, for us to go on a double date. So we went on a double date, and mind you, I love Srna's guy. Can I call him your boyfriend? Yeah.
It's your boyfriend? Okay. Srna's boyfriend. The reason why it was a bad date was because I was disrespected, and then Srna was really upset and also felt disrespected, and it just caused a lot of tension between all of us. So do you want to kind of start?
So I don't even know where to start.
Give the story where we started and
so
what happened.
We agreed on Soho.
Yes.
And just really quick, that basically we all have met before.
Yes.
But briefly at Soho. But I've known my boyfriend for a few years.
Not hard for you, but you were like,
I know. I think I'm not used to it.
I haven't even said it, but I'm happy for you.
But we all kind of hung out one night, like a few months ago, and not really hung out, but
it was the night you guys met. Well, not really met, but the night it started for you.
We've known each other for years.
Yes.
And you've also known him for years.
Known him too.
But we just never kind of like connected like that. And then a few months ago it happened, but regardless, so that friend was there too.
Yeah.
And anyway,
he was dating someone at the time.
He was, and they just broke it off. Mm-hmm. And we kind of decided, Jackie and I also wanted Jackie to hang out with my boyfriend and like just spend some time. And they suggested the four of us going on this double date. And so we're going to Soho, and I already told my boyfriend, I said, listen, like, Jackie's my best friend in the world. Please, like, let's just make sure that, like, I don't want to do anything to disrespect her or jeopardize anything. Like, this is very important to me. And he said, of course not. I totally get it, which I believe that wasn't his intention at all. So we meet them at Soho House, and you know, the guy, and I'm already like, I had this gut feeling. So I'm already like hovering, like listening to their conversation. I couldn't focus because I was like listening to you guys and what he was saying. And what I had realized is how it started too, was a lot of it was about his ex.
Yes.
And then like we would say something about Jackie and he would totally ignore it and bring it back to him.
Yes. He talked a lot about himself. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Which wasn't, you even looked past that.
Yeah, I looked past that. I was like, you know what? He's a nice guy. I can't, you know, I need to let my guard down and just not judge, I would say, but not just assume things about people. Mm-hmm. And I need to give people a chance. So
100%.
Long story short, we had gone to Soho. Soho was packed. So we went to Cicconi's, got a drink there.
At the bar, yeah.
At the bar. And we were sitting at the bar. We're talking, the four of us. It was like
maybe 10 minutes in.
I think it was more than that. It was like 30 minutes in.
Well, regardless, I'm like, because of how quickly it happened.
It just happened so quickly. So we're all vibing, and you know what? We were having a good time. And he goes, "Do you want to say what he said?"
There was smoke coming out of my ears.
She was about to like burst.
So he goes, "Oh guys, by the way, can my friend stop by and say hi? It's someone I used to date."
Yeah. He was very specific. He said he went on 6 dates with her. And so my gut reaction was, I immediately was like, this is weird, but I said, sure. And then Srna,
I didn't even say anything.
She didn't even say anything, and she was already fuming.
Like, you could tell I have a really bad RBF, resting beef face. And I was just like, and I look at my boyfriend and I'm like, you could tell, like, I'm about to just go ballistic, but I was keeping it in.
Yeah. So long story short, we're not going to like go through everything. She came, she stayed for a while, and he was, you know, trying to get her to leave, but it was just weird after that point. And I told you, I said, honestly, I think I'm going to leave. And eventually she left. So we went upstairs, and it was a weird vibe.
Yeah.
And he
tried apologizing.
He apologized, and Srna was like, she should have never come. Srna was straight up. And what I love Srna so much about is, we went to the bathroom at one point, and you were about to cry because you know how much I've been through, and the amount of times I've been through similar things like that you were just like, not again. And I think, what was going in your mind during that time?
First for me is like, so Jackie's one of the most important people in my life, and truly I know her heart and I know her soul, and you're always just so graceful and amazing towards others and truly have a kind heart. So when I feel like I led her into the lion's den, like I don't think she expected it just sucked that I was the one that put her in this position with this person. And it made me so upset because I'm just like, I just know what a beautiful and amazing person Jackie is and what she deserves. And this is the complete another level of what I thought would happen.
Yeah.
And what about you? I want to hear what was going through your head.
I think at the time I wasn't really registering what happened. And I texted you that night in the middle of the night, but I think I didn't blame you. And I think I didn't even blame your boyfriend either. It was more of just like, I didn't think he wasn't ready for a relationship. And I think I should have just, and it's not you, like I should have just never been set up with him but I don't think you didn't know that. And I don't know that your boyfriend knew that either. It was kind of just like, oh, maybe they would be a good match. So
yeah. And I think my boyfriend also said he's never acted like he's never acted that way. So it was kind of, which I trust if he says that he hasn't. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, I really think that there's a way to, and I also said, if they didn't hit it off, they didn't hit it off. Like that was, everyone goes their own ways.
1,000%.
No hard feelings, but it was the blatant disrespect for me.
Yes, agreed. And I think, to be honest, to go into the topic we wanted to talk about today, people pleasing, the moment I should have left was the moment he said, do you mind if, I should have said no. I should have said, that's fine, but I'm going to leave, respectfully leave.
Yeah.
And I think something that I struggle with a lot is just staying because I want to be the bigger person and I'm trying to people please and I want them to like me. And I should have left.
Yeah. And I think as girls too, sometimes we think we're being dramatic in a sense.
Yes.
And it's not dramatic. It also goes into respecting yourself.
Yeah.
And
and I don't hate him at all, but I will say that it's interesting because I can tell that I've grown and by the way, side note before I go into this, Srna's boyfriend was really kind and sent me a message the next day apologizing. And I thought that was very nice and thoughtful because he cared about how I felt. And he was really worried that was going to hurt the way that I thought or felt about him. And it doesn't. I think he's such a great guy. And I know he's not like that. And I think he thinks that I'm going to think he's like that too. And I was like, no, I know you're not like that. I don't think,
But a lot of people wouldn't have, the way you reacted and were so kind of appreciative of that and saw it from that sense is also another person would be like, well, that's who you hang out with?
Yeah. I was just like, I know that's not who you are. And let's say hypothetically, the guy were to reach out to me apologizing, I would have just been like, listen, thank you. But I just hope you never do that again to someone else because you really need to take in consider, like you need to think about how the other people are going to feel.
Exactly. And this also goes into what I said to my boyfriend. I go, what if the roles were reversed and Jackie brought her ex?
Yes.
And this is where, for me, she would be called the worst names. She would be just said, what kind of behavior is that? She would be ripped apart. And so we were even pretty lenient with what he did.
Yeah.
Given how bad it was.
I don't think I processed it until the next day when I texted you or like that in the middle of the night where I was just like, how much I've been through with very similar situations where guys have either disrespected me in front of my face, and I'll give another example now, and also behind my back. And I think that, and the reason why I know that you were about to, I'm going to like cry. The reason I know you were going to cry is because you know how much I've been through and you didn't want that to happen again. And I knew it wasn't your fault. It's not your fault. And that's not his either. Like I'm not gonna say his name. Your boyfriend, we're not fortune tellers. No one knew that was gonna happen.
And I don't think if he knew that was, he would never
he
have
would
done.
have never, I know he would have never.
Because no one wanted that. And I think, and I love you, and that's exactly why and I know Jackie, and I know what she's been through, and I'm like, enough, like just enough at this point.
For me, my thing is, I woke up the next day and I was like, when will it end? It's like, when will this stop happening to me? And I'm going to give another example. And this is why I know I've grown, because what I did with the guy, and I'm going to be honest, the next day, he had followed me on my personal Instagram, not Life of the Shameless.
A few days before that day.
A few days before. So I followed him back. The next day, I removed him as a follower and I unfollowed him just because it's not me being petty. I swear. It was just like, I just don't need your energy.
Yeah. You saw
space.
what you needed to see. Yeah. And at that point, and it's again, and Jack even was like, I wish him well.
I do. I really, and you know what? I think he learned a lot from that. And I know he did based off what you've told me. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's learned a lot. And thank God it was with me, because I'm like, I've been there, done that. I've been through this before.
Because other people wouldn't be that strong through that.
Well, another example I wanted to give that you were actually there for is, and this is why I know I've grown up. There was this one time a few years ago when we lived together that this guy that I was talking to and was really into, let's call him Jake. You know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Right.
Asked me to go to a bar. He was like, you should come to this bar. And I dragged Srna with me, of course. And
you didn't I always come willingly with you.
I love you. And when I get to the bar, he is making out with someone in front of my face.
It's like sweaty makeout
in front of my face, and then tried to come back to me, and I was like, nope. And I ended up, that night was actually epic because I bumped into someone I had a crush on and we hit it off. But it's really
interesting. I remember that was crazy.
And I know I've grown because I still chased him after that. Like, I still continue to entertain that. Yeah. And now I would never. I'd be like, you disrespected me, I'm done.
And because I think you've really grown into yourself and your value and what you bring to the table. Mm-hmm. Everyone, I think that was me too. It was one of my more insecure moments in life so I think that, not insecure, but I think you're still learning about yourself and you want that validation and kind of especially again, as women, I think that we want that. We try to also make guys into something they're not.
Yeah. It's so crazy how, and it goes with like everything in life, that we try to make things what they're not, and we try to please other people by doing certain things, by getting certain jobs that don't really align with who we are, by hanging out with certain people because that's who we should be hanging out with, or because you're going to be in the scene.
Yeah.
When do you, like, what is, you know, a time where you felt like you were doing something to people please? It doesn't have to be recent, but like a time where you're like, that wasn't what I really wanted to do.
So, and we spoke about this in the past, but when I did have, my TikTok used to be very different. And it was very, like, there was a video that went viral about me calling guys weasels, and like if a weasel does this, but it wasn't very, it's just not where I'm at now.
No.
And it was just talking crap about guys, and just like, and I don't like doing that because there are such good guys out there.
Yeah.
And it was like generalizing. And then I was really capitalizing off that like weasel hateful message, which isn't me, but it was because like girls that were going through something or whatever, they loved it. And it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I would get these messages being like, why are you so hateful? And I remember it would really, that's when I kind of started to look within myself and think, okay, this isn't me. This isn't the message I want to put out in the world. And then I kind of slowly I suspended my TikTok account for a while.
I don't remember that. Yeah. You did. I remember you not being active for a really long time.
Yeah. And so that was one of the recent ones. And I think also like in the sense of like what I was wearing, what my hair, it was like bleach blonde. It just was not, you know how different I remember?
It's so crazy. You were so different. You were a completely different vibe. And it's not that it was a bad vibe. It was just, I think it was attracting a different, like, I don't know. Would you
demographic of people.
Would you say it was more for like, and I'll be honest too, like with things I've worn before, was it more for like the male gaze? Do you think?
Yes. And also I think when we talked about both of our EDs too, it was for validation from
other people
and them telling me I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I don't think I looked good then, but it was the validation of saying, you look so thin, you lost so much weight.
And it pushes you to want to do more because that's what society wants you to do. It wants you to look a certain way. It wants you to have a certain job, even with jobs. And I'm sure you can relate that I've had jobs in the past where, it was like, I remember this one job. It was the cool place to work. It was a cool like thing happening right now in Miami. Yeah. And I was like, I want to work there. And I remember, and I've said this before, I walked in the first day and I was like, oh my gosh, I made the wrong choice. Like my gut is always right. And I was like, I made the wrong choice. And I stayed because it was cool. And I remember, and it's really interesting because I've noticed a lot of people do this. I was always constantly posting on my stories about it. And I was not happy. And I've noticed that a lot of people I know who complain about their jobs are still posting about it because it makes them look cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think a lot of times we get the job. We dress a certain way because it's the cool thing to do. And it's like, you're going to be accepted by society.
What do you think? I think I want to ask you this question. What do you think you did in your previous relationships that was maybe to please the other person?
That's a really good one. Two things. I think I always was very flexible with my time, and I felt like I was available whenever. Okay, you could only do Wednesday night. Okay, I'm available. And I would move my schedule around to be flexible for Jackie, them because I thought like, oh, they're busier than I am, so I'll be more flexible.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, and I also think I still do this, to be honest, and it's actually something I was thinking about yesterday. I was like, every time I had a date, it was like, get a blowout, do the nails, like make sure I'm picture perfect to make sure that I look good enough for them.
Yeah.
And it's something that I still do. And it's something that makes me feel good, but there's a difference between doing it. Sometimes I'll get a blowout during the week because it just gives me that extra boost, but it was for that specific date. Yeah. So I think that. What about you?
I think it's very similar time-wise, and I think I still do that. But
you're getting better at it though.
Yeah, I think I am. But I think that it's always like I'm putting the other person first and I'm always available. And I think that's on me to also do. And another thing that I did, I wouldn't bring up things that bothered me because I didn't want to cause stress for them.
Right. Like you were trying to protect their peace. And by doing that, you were hurting yourself.
I sacrificed my standards.
Yes.
And you cannot sacrifice. That's part of people pleasing is when you people please, you sacrifice your standards and what you need. And you have to, you can be compassionate towards others. You can try your best to protect someone's peace, but not at the cost of your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what I wanted to ask you for relationships, for sure. We've definitely, people pleased and tried to be the bigger person and the one that's always there. Have you ever felt like in friendships you've people pleased? And is there anything you've done before where you felt like I'm just doing this to please even though I really don't want to do it?
That's such a good one.
Even with me, you can be honest.
Not because you made me feel that way. Ever, because I think our relationship and I could cry and it wasn't even like you specifically. I think I just went through a time where it was my family. It was every relationship in my life that I was like constantly like, I also had anxiety about like not letting someone down.
It's so interesting. I felt bad because a couple of days ago you came to an event with me and I felt bad because I didn't want to bother you. I knew it was like nothing crazy. And I didn't want you to just show up because you felt like you needed to show up and like please me and you thought I was going to think other.
And Jackie, I love you, but with you, I show up because I want to and I love spending time with you. And it was something I also told her I'd go to it, but this week the last couple of weeks were so crazy and I told her I'd go to it and things got out of hand. It like completely didn't even register in my mind. And then like that night she was like, I'm on my way to this event. And I'm like,
she showed up,
but I also didn't, when you texted me that, I didn't even register until 30 minutes later. Remember? Yeah, I was like, I just put two and two together. This. So, that I love, like, you are food for my soul. So
no, same. And I feel like we ended up having such a really big heart to heart that night about just
that
life.
We don't have time to have that often anymore. We have it here.
We do have it here. And it's funny because like right now we probably interrupted each other and I didn't even realize because
I probably did.
Ricky's laughing. No, because I feel like I'm yelling again because I feel like we're on the couch talking.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm like being careful because I don't want to speak over you. But
I know.
What about you in terms of friendships?
Yes, I think a lot of times, something that I'm really struggling with right now is saying yes to a lot of things because I feel like I need to people please. You know this because you're the same. Like I have a lot of different groups in Miami. I have my friends from home. I have like you. I have my camp friends. I have my influencer friends who have turned into friends, like,
and also your family
and my family. I have a lot of people and I feel this like constant need to say yes. And to like last week, I felt myself really overwhelmed because I was saying yes to a ton of, and I'm glad I did them because I see it as networking and it's great, but a ton of coffee dates, lunch dates. And I was working at night. I was waking up early to, do things. Like I felt really overwhelmed and I have to learn how to say no. Like this isn't going to work for me. And especially like last minute plans, this isn't going to work for me today.
Yeah. But I do think that, you've been a lot better at it. And like and what I love about Jackie, she's not the type of person that's going to say yes and then flake.
That's actually a lie.
I feel like maybe you've just been good about it with me.
I think that I'm trying to be better at saying maybe. I might, like if I'm not sure if I want to go, maybe, because a lot of the times what happens to me is the day comes and I'm like, I feel really tired. I don't want to go, but I don't want to not go. Yeah. And that happened to me the other day. I was like, I need to show up because I said I was going to go. And I think a lot of some of my friends would say like, we don't know if Jackie's actually, like, especially out, because I think out is a different story if I want to like go out to a bar or whatever. But I'm really trying to be better about saying yes if I'm really planning on being there.
Yeah. But I think you've been great about it. So, and because you mentioned going out, I know that we have had, now that we're like not in our really going out era as like crazy going out, we'll go to dinners.
Self-care era.
Yes. And we'll go, but when people guilt us to stay.
Yeah. it's so interesting. I was having this conversation with a guy friend yesterday.
Yeah.
Danny, I'll give him a shout out. I bumped into him. And we were saying that he was saying, he's like, I feel so guilty when I go to dinners and everyone's like, oh, let's go to Live the Club after. And he's like, I don't want to go to that. And I was like, it's okay to say you don't want to, because we're like, and you've done this before, even like dinners that I've been with you, you're like, I'm gonna go home now, you guys, but have fun.
And you've always been so great. You're like, oh my God, thank you for coming. I love you. Like, I'm so glad we were. And then other people are like, oh, don't be a loser.
Like, why are you going home now? And I'm like, honestly, the thing with me is I'm over my going out phase. Like, and I'm not trying to be better than everyone. I'm not there anymore. Mm-hmm. I really love, my priorities right now are this, my work, and just like being with people I love. And I don't need to be out till 3 a.m. I don't.
And it's just, we've done it. We've done it. And we've seen what it does to our mental state.
To my body, to everything.
Yeah. And there was a time where like, even going out, I know I would go out multiple times a week to people like and also I had FOMO.
Because you feel like, but the reality is you're seeing all of these things on social. It's not as great as it actually looks.
No, it's not. And I think that now we're in such a good place. So, and I'm really happy about it. I think, and you and I, this is like our going out now.
This is for you guys to know, it's Saturday, 1:00, and we're filming, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Last night I had Hanukkah dinner with my family. And
so cute, yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. And you had a nice dinner with your boy.
Got home early.
She texted me like before I was even in bed. She's like, in bed. I'm like, I'm not in bed yet.
I'm like, don't worry. I'm gonna be on tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm really happy about it, and I love you. I'm really grateful for how far we've come.
Me too. One thing I've learned with people pleasing is you need to stop pleasing other people and make sure that you are satisfying yourself and taking care of yourself. It is okay to say no.
Yes, 100%, Jackie. And I think that we've learned that now. And you can't sacrifice your needs for the validation of other people.
Yes.
I really think that, you can be compassionate. You can be a good friend, a good boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but still being good to yourself.
Yeah. And you know what? A good friend, a true friend, and a true partner will understand if you decide to say no to something that you originally maybe agreed to. They will understand if you decide to say no.
100%. And
protect yourself.
Protect yourself and your energy.
Fill your cup.
Fill your cup.
Anyway, this is a good episode. Yeah, I think this helped you guys. I think, honestly, we live in a world of people pleasing, and you got to take care of yourself. You really, really do.
And fill your cup. That's what it's all about.
It's all about filling your own cup.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Fill Your Cup with Srna, Stos,
and Jackie Shamus. If you're not following us on TikTok and Instagram, please follow us at fillyourcup.pod. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Fillyourcup.pod. And if you have any questions you want us to answer on the pod, our email is fillyourcupthepod@gmail.com. That is fillyourcupthepod@gmail.com.
We love you.
See you next week. Next week is a really good episode, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.